Last week, the Department of Justice was working closely with officials in Hong Kong. Their plan? To have Edward Snowden arrested and brought back to the United States to face espionage charges. Today, we know that plan didn't work out. And we've now seen other governments around the world appear unwilling to do the bidding of the United States and to arrest Snowden. And we have an idea as to why. Now let's begin in Hong Kong, which allowed Snowden to leave over the weekend. In a press release on Sunday, the government of Hong Kong said requests from the U.S. to arrest Snowden, quote, did not fully comply with legal requirements under Hong Kong law. But Hong Kong also included this curious statement in that same press release, suggesting there's another reason why they let Snowden go. It said, the Hong Kong government has formally written to the U.S. government requesting clarification on early reports that the hacking of computer systems in Hong Kong by U.S. government agencies. The Hong Kong government will continue to follow up on the matter so as to protect the legal rights of the people of Hong Kong. As in, if you wanted us to comply with your arrest warrant, well, maybe you shouldn't have been secretly hacking us. Now, the New York Times reports that China, which was also subject to U.S. hacking, made the ultimate call to let Snowden leave Hong Kong. The dust-up over the U.S. granting asylum to Chinese dissident Chen Guangchen last year, well, that could have been a motivating factor in that decision, too. Now on to Russia, which says it couldn't arrest Snowden since he never officially entered Russian territory and remained in the airport as a traveler. But you might remember Snowden revealed last week that the NSA spied on former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev during the G20 summit in 2009. So there's that. And then there's Cuba, here, which has been mentioned as a possible layover destination for Snowden on his trip to asylum. Maybe an economic embargo of more than 50 years and repeated attempts to assassinate their head of state might influence Cuba's decision to look the other way if Snowden winds up there. And finally, there's Ecuador. That is the reported destination for Snowden, in a country that has already granted political asylum to WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. Now listen to what Ecuador's Foreign Minister Ricardo Patiño said today about how the U.S. might react to his country granting Snowden asylum.
It's necessary to note that the United States, as a sovereign government, has received various extradition requests on behalf of the Ecuadorian government for individuals, particularly bankers in Ecuador, that have been charged in our country, and according to their laws, have made decisions in many cases of not extraditing those who have committed crimes against millions of Ecuadorians.
Patiño is referring to the Isaias brothers, who were convicted of embezzlement and who the Ecuadorian government has blamed for crashing their economy in the 1990s, costing Ecuador more than $8 billion. The Isaias brothers are living a cushy lifestyle in Coral Gables, Florida, as the United States ignores Ecuador's calls for extradition. So what's happening here is the United States wants other nations to grant extradition that the United States itself has been unwilling to grant in the past. And the U.S. wants other nations that it's spied on and nations it's attempted to destabilize in the past to now do it a favor when it comes to arresting Snowden. Many officials and pundits in the United States have said these governments won't arrest Snowden just because they hate the United States or because they hate freedom. But the reality is much more complicated and much more inconvenient for the United States. And it has to do with blowback and a rapidly decreasing American hegemony all around the world. In Washington, Sam Sacks, RT.